So folks, I am making this short video as I plan to tow this 3,500 pound pop-up camper with my van. As you can see, this camper has a 7-point harness, and what this entails is that besides the brake lights and whatnot, this pop-up camper also has electronic braking. Uh, what that entails is that if I want to tow close to 3,500 pound with my van, which is the tow capacity of the van, I need to send the electric braking signal to the electric braking on this pop-up camper, and for that I need a 7-point harness installed on the van and run the electric power cable all the way up to the driver's side footwell. So I went with this Hopkins 7-point and 4-point outlet plug, because most of the U-Haul trailers, they have a 4-point harness. They don't have electric braking, and I wanted the capability of quickly having a 4-point at the same time having a 7-point. As you can see, I have installed the hidden hitch, which is great because the hidden hitch comes with a bracket, with a support bracket to install the 7-point pin. If you can see, there is the mount point of the 7-point hitch, which is great because all I had to do is that cut the shield and be able to mount this 7-point plug. The cable, of course, I used the harness to tap into the brake lights, which is here and here, and of course I ran the cable of this side through this molding piece and up here behind this wall here. This is where the power controller for the harness resides, underneath there, with the appropriate grounding. Now I use the harness that also require hot wire to run to the front of the van, and the way I did that is once this thing is off, as you can see, it overlaps this panel. You need to get this thing off, and you can peel this bracket, paneling. You can peel the panel off, and then you can access that well at the back. Of course, you need to unhook this cable, this strap here. There are two number 10 bolts on either side. Pop this cap, and the whole strap comes off, and then you will be able to peel the panel off and get access to that well where I have mounted the electric control of the braking harness. And I ran and then I routed the wire through the gourmet over there, and all the wires are going from the inside of the van all the way to the front of the passenger side footwell. What I use is you use the electrical fish wire to fish the cable through here to the front of the panel, which I'll just show you. You can peel this side of the paneling out, and you can fish the electrical fish from here and pull the cable. And as you can see, these two are the power. The gray one is for the brake controller, and the black one is the hot wire for the electrical harness. And as you can see, I have routed it all through here, zip tying them at appropriate points, and goes through the pillar panel and comes out from here. There you see, Need to put one more zip tie over here, and it zip tied and goes into the passenger footwell, and that's where it comes out for the e-brake controller. I have unhooked the e-brake controller. One of the things that I missed is that I should have put a cutoff switch, because if I plug that brake controller in there, it constantly stays on. So I need to put a switch in the heart for the brake controller. All the wires have passed through a gourmet rubber gasket over there at the back, and there is access point back there. And one of the negatives for the harnesses, I have terminated on here in this cable because I didn't want to run it all the way to the battery, which is a really solid point, as other negatives for the Toyota harness. He is also connected to that spot. This is my negative for grounding. Coming up front, this is the I know I ran out of electrical tape, so kind of like use the duct tape. I'll be replacing that pretty soon. So this is the fuse or a circuit breaker for the electric brake control system, because the positive is like a 30 amp, and this is the fuse for the harness at the back. So there is a 10 amp fuse in there. So this is for the heart that is going for the the harness for the 4-point. The 4-point harness connects to the 7-point harness, and you have to run a separate cable for the e-brake signal to all the way to the front, and this positive is for powering the controller. What the controller does is that the controller, see that's the gourmet through which, I don't know if you can see it. That's the rubber gourmet through which it slides in. Right about there. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Right there. So a little tough, but I managed somehow with my big hands. So what the e-brake controller does is that it piggybacks on your brake signal, and it will take it's basically a pressure switch where it detects the intensity of your braking and converts it into an appropriate e-braking signal and sends it to the electric braking of your trailer or camper or whatever you may be towing. And what happens is there is no load on the van's braking system if you have electric brake, and you get much better control of your towed vehicle without any impact on the braking system of your van, which is great because then you get better control. I mean, the 3500 trailer with the electric braking stops on a dime. I mean, I'm so happy the way it has turned out, and the way the brake controller is controlling the electric braking of the pop-up camper. I mean, I have no doubts that I will be totally safe towing that beast on our roads. Again, I'm not an expert, guys, but I think I've taken all the precautions that I need to. I have done extensive research, and people claim that if you want to tow for short distances, more than the capacity of your towing capacity of your vehicle, you need electric braking, because electric braking allows you to go over 500 pounds of around 500 pounds of your tow capacity. Again, this is not my claim. Use your own judgment if you are planning to tow more, and do your research. Complete disclaimer here, I'm not responsible for any stupidity out there. All right, guys, this is just making this video to help others understand what I have done. The other thing that I have done is you need to keep your transmission happy. So what I have done is I have installed this external transmission cooler. Pretty simple install. You can see brackets, three mount points. Use some washer because apparently this frame has a lip, so I had to overcome that lip. So I just sandwiched some washers there, and pretty solid install there. And all I'm doing is basically taking the feed from the out from the radiator for the transmission cooler, feeding it into the in, and taking this outlet here and putting it back in my transmission. When I did this, I also serviced my transmission before I did this, and basically added half a quart more for the capacity of this cooler. And pretty much shifts are smooth. The needle doesn't move. I'll show you from the bottom as well of what else I have done. There you go. That's what it looks like from the bottom. That's your in, that's your out, routed in, and there is going into the transmission. There. It's going into the transmission. This is your pipe that is coming from the transmission hot into the radiator, and that is your transmission out to my external cooler. Yeah, I know I have to push that wire in, but it's pretty secure there. Not a drop leaking through, so I'm good. I'll push that inside later. And that's about it. This is going to my external. From here, I have tapped into the external cooler, and this basically inserted the external cooler in between the return line. So it's got double cooling now. As you all are aware, I was getting a braking stutter. I also did the TSB. As you're all aware, I was also getting some braking stutter, and I wanted to do a brake job as well before I head out. I read up, and this is the solution that Toyota has provided. That we need to, which part is this? We need to take this molding and cut it so there is more flow through that gap there to the brakes. Well, I did that TSB, but I'm still not happy. I do not want to, as I'll be using OEM Toyota rotors and Akebono pads. I didn't want to go through the whole job again. I'm in the process of doing the job there, the brake job, but I don't want to just rely on this TSB, as I need to keep my rotors happy. So my research led me to this. Now this is a solution that the entire racing fraternity uses. So it's all zip ties, guys. Made one hole in the bumper here. 3-point support system. Zip tied it in. And I'll show you a view from the bottom. That's what it looks like. One zip tied to this support. 3-point support. One zip tied here. So this is what it looks like from the side. That's not a lot of clearance. Looks all good. routed this wire through the frame, cut the shield a little bit, routed it through, zip tied to the caliper bracket, and that's where it sits. So basically it's going to draw the cool air from the front and basically route it and push it straight on your braking system. There you go. That's where the rotor is going to sort of mount. That's your caliper mounting position. And since this hose is all rubber, I think there's enough flexibility there for the suspension movement. If there is some adjustment required, I'll do so as need be. But let's see. I think it's going to work. It's going to push all the cool air straight on the rotors and keep the rotors happy, and maybe extend the life on the rotors and not have the stuttery feeling. So I'll walk you through the other side now. This is the driver's side, by the way, and I'll show you how much of the mud flaps, the wheel well flaps splash shields that I routed it through there. This was a little tighter fit because it's going right underneath the radiator. There you go. It's going right under the radiator hose, but it's rubber on rubber. It's okay. It's going to be cool. No problem there. Of course, you guys can give me your feedbacks. Be nice about it. All right, let's and there it is going through the shield there. There I cut the splash shield and routed the cable, and it's doing the same thing over there. There you go, right there. That's your caliper mounting position. Rotors are going to be there. I'm going to just flush all that cool air onto the rotor, keeping it happy. I'll give you another shot of it. I know I'll have to cut a little bit of the splash shield as well. That's another shot. I cut it slightly bigger here, but it's all right. It's all a game of zip ties, guys. All zip tie everywhere. Use that bracket as one mounting position, this for the second. There's enough slack and movement over there. You see that? Enough for my suspension. Still comes back to the same spot because this is all rubber. See, this is all rubber and it has a metal ring going in. All of this is available on Amazon, by the way. This hose. All you have to do is search for brake ducting. I think, yeah, that was the key word on Amazon, and it'll give you different kinds of scoops. There are scoops there, the catch scoops. There are two separate ones also available. I went with the center one because I kind of like it nice and balanced, symmetrical. There you go. You can see the scoop. Looks good. Clearance is good. It comes. It's in the same line as your frame there. I wanted it behind this grate, but there's not enough room in there, so I chose to do this. It's all centralized, balanced, symmetrical, whatever you may call. So that's it, guys. Now have to finish the brake job. And have any questions, post. Thank you guys.